Okay, so have you ever been there? You're rushing out the door, late for something important, maybe a big meeting, maybe just starting a road trip,
Yeah.
and bam, that low tire pressure light flicks on. It's the worst
Oh,
feeling.
absolutely. Or just, those cold mornings when you know the pressure's dropped a bit.
Exactly. And you think, oh, gotta find a gas station, hope the pump works. What if you could just
Yeah.
handle it? Quickly, easily, right there yourself.
It's a super common headache, isn't it? And those gas station pumps are so hit or miss.
Totally. Well, that's actually what we're digging into today. We're looking at portable tire inflators,
Yeah.
and specifically one called the AstroAI Tire Inflator Portable Air Compressor.
Right.
We've basically gone through its whole Amazon page, specs, descriptions, the works, but also, and this is key, we dove into like almost 100,000 customer reviews.
Wow, it's a lot of feedback.
It is. So the mission here is to unpack what makes this specific inflator tick, look at this tough ultra technology they talk about, and really pull out what actual users are saying. The good stuff, the not so good stuff, and even some really clever tips people shared.
That's the best way, I think. You get the real picture beyond the marketing gloss. See how it actually performs day to day.
So let's start with the basics. What is this thing? Fundamentally, it's a small pump, runs off your car's 12-volt DC outlet, designed mainly for car tires, but you can use it for bike tires, balls, that sort of thing.
And it's got the essentials, digital display for the pressure, and an LED light, which is pretty useful for emergencies or just fumbling around in the dark.
Right. But you mentioned something unique earlier, this tough ultra technology. What's that about?
Yeah, this is interesting. AstroAI seems to be tackling a common weak point in these pumps, the insides, the mechanical parts. They're using something called a powder metallurgy integrated molding technique for the core components.
Okay, hold on. Powder metallurgy integrated molding. Sounds pretty technical. What does that actually mean for someone just trying to inflate a tire?
Huh, yeah, it does sound complex. But basically, think of it like this. They take powdered metal, shape it precisely, and then fuse it together under intense heat and pressure. It's a way to make parts really, really strong and resistant to wear.
Ah, okay, so it's about durability.
Exactly. They're essentially trying to build it tougher from the ground up, focusing on the bits that usually fail first. The cylinder, the gears, the connection rod. They claim it boosts the service life by like 30%. It's about making it last longer.
That's a pretty bold claim, especially for something that probably gets tossed in the trunk. Okay, so it's built tough, hopefully. But how easy is it to actually use? Like roadside, maybe stressed?
Well, they seem to have focused on making it pretty smart, operation-wise. You can actually program the pressure you want. There's a button, M, to pick your units, PSI, KPA, BAR, whatever you need.
Right, most of us use PSI here.
Yeah, mostly PSI. Then just plus and minus buttons to dial in the exact number.
And it has that auto shut off, right? Does that work reliably?
Seems so, yeah. Once it hits the pressure you set, it just stops. The only thing is, obviously, you have to set the target pressure higher than what's already in the tire. Otherwise, it won't start.
Makes sense.
But yeah, the screen gives you clear readings, the buttons are separate, and seem pretty intuitive. Set it and let it run.
That's great. Takes the guesswork out. You don't accidentally overinflate. Big plus. What about size? Is it genuinely easy to store?
It's definitely meant to be compact. Lightweight, too. Just over 2 pounds, apparently. The description says it fits in glove compartments under seats. Almost unnoticeable, they say.
Okay, that's good. You want it handy, not taking up your whole trunk. And if you do need it at night or in a poorly lit garage.
It's got that covered. The screen is backlit, which helps, and there's a separate button just for the LED flashlight, so you're not trying to use your phone light while juggling the pump.
Nice touch. Okay, we've talked design, ease of use. Let's get into the nitty-gritty, the specs. What's powering this thing?
All right, so it's the AstroAI A220B model. Corded electric, needs that 12-volt DC car socket. Pulls a maximum of 120 watts.
And how fast does it pump?
Airflow is rated at 35 liters per minute, which is, pretty respectable for a portable unit this size. Means it shouldn't take forever.
Okay, max pressure.
Goes up to 100 psi, plenty for cars, bikes. Probably not heavy-duty truck tires, though. It's not built for that.
Right. And noise. Are these things loud?
They listed it at 80 decibels, which is kind of like a noisy dishwasher or maybe heavy traffic. You'll hear it, but it's not deafening, especially for the short time you'll use it.
Fair enough. Dimensions. You said compact.
Yeah, about 8.3 inches long, under 4 inches wide, maybe 6.7 inches high. Weighs, like we said, around 2.2 pounds or 1 kilogram.
And the hose reaches okay.
Should do. It's 3 meters long, that's nearly 10 feet. Should reach all 4 tires easily on most cars, plus it comes with extra nozzles for other stuff, like sports balls,
Gotcha. And it's been around a while.
since mid-2019.
Yeah.
So it's not some brand new, untested gadget. It has a track record.
Speaking of track record, how's it doing sales-wise? Is it popular?
Oh, yeah. It's listed as an Amazon's Choice product. They note 10K plus bought in past month, which is huge. Clearly resonates with buyers looking for value and reliability.
10,000 in a month.
Wow.
And
Pretty affordable.
definitely seems like good value. And shipping, returns, standard Amazon stuff.
Yep. Dollars and free returns. Easy process, low risk to try it out.
Okay, specs and price paint a good picture, but like you said, the real story is in those user reviews. Almost 100,000 ratings. What's the overall vibe?
Overwhelmingly positive, actually. It averages 4.5 out of 5 stars, which is really strong for that many reviews. And get this, 74% of them are 5-star ratings.
74%, that's huge.
It is. The general takeaway from AI summaries and just reading through them is that people find it reliable, super easy to use. They love the inflation speed, the compact size, portability, and consistently mention its great value for the money.
What specific things jump out from the positive comments? Ease of use seems big.
Definitely. People call it plug and play. Intuitive. One person literally said they didn't even bother to read the directions. That tells you something about how straightforward it is.
Huh, that's confidence. What about speed? You mentioned that.
Yeah, lots of comments on speed. Some say it's way faster than other pumps that I've owned, even more expensive ones, like fills 3 times as fast.
Wow.
And that specific example you found earlier is great inflating a totally flat tire, 0 pressure, up to 32 psi in just under 10 minutes. That's impressive performance when you really need it.
Yeah, that really paints a picture. Portability gets mentioned a lot too.
Constantly. Lightweight, small, easy to carry, stores easily. People love that it doesn't take up much space.
And the accuracy.
Yeah.
The pressure setting feature.
Highly valued. Users really appreciate setting the exact PSI they need and trusting it's accurate. And that auto shutoff means they can literally start it and walk away for a minute. Completely unattended, one person said.
That's handy. Any other standout positive stories?
There was one reviewer who gave a great detailed account. They liked how well the connector sealed onto the valve stem. No hissing air loss. Said it was quieter than others they'd used, and it didn't vibrate and dance around on the ground.
Ah, yeah, I hate when they do that.
Right. And they managed to top off 4 tires in less than 10 minutes total. Pretty efficient. Another person loved it for winter, being able to top off tires in their warm garage using the set it and forget it function. Just practical, real-world benefits.
Those sound like ideal use cases, but okay, no product's perfect. What about the downsides or concerns? You mentioned reliability was a bit mixed.
Yeah, it's interesting. While overall reliability gets praise, when you filter reviews specifically mentioning reliability, it's more divided. Some people reported the plug breaking or the whole unit just dying after a couple of months.
So maybe not indestructible?
It seems like it excels for occasional use, emergencies, regular top-ups. But maybe not for really heavy, continuous use. Like if you were running a small garage, this probably isn't your tool. It seems geared towards the average car owner.
That makes sense. What about heat? Did they get hot?
Yes, that comes up quite a bit. It can get very warm if you run it for a long time, and the instructions likely mention a limited continuous runtime to prevent overheating damage.
Okay, so you probably shouldn't try to inflate like 4 completely flat tires back to back without a brake.
Probably not ideal, but this is where that user ingenuity comes in again. One really highly rated review had this brilliant workaround.
Oh yeah, what was it?
Well, first, they recommended always running your car's engine while using the pump good tip to avoid draining the battery or blowing a fuse. But the genius part, they suggested buying 2 inflators. So you can alternate, use one pump on the first tire, then while it's cooling down, use the second pump on the next tire, then switch back. It speeds up the whole process if you have multiple tires to do, and it prevents either unit from overheating.
That is actually really smart. A bit more initial cost, but clever, especially if you have multiple cars or often need to inflate several tires at once.
Exactly. Takes a potential limitation and flips it into a strategy.
Love that. Any other little quirks or annoyances people mentioned?
A few minor things. Some found the connector head that screws onto the tire valve a bit stiff or tricky to unscrew quickly, sometimes losing a tiny bit of air, maybe half a PSI as they took it off.
Ah, okay. Annoying, but maybe not a deal breaker.
Probably not. And cord management, some said the cord can be a bit messy to store. But again, a user offered a simple fix. Just fold it back up the way it came packaged and use a hair tie or rubber band to keep it neat.
Simple solutions are often the best. And there was that odd thing about model sizes recently.
Yeah, just one recent review, but worth mentioning. Someone ordered the large model, the A220B we've been discussing, but felt it was identical to what might be marketed elsewhere or previously as a medium model. Could be a listing confusion or maybe a regional difference. Hard to say. Just something to be aware of.
Good to know. Okay, so beyond the pump itself, you can get protection plans.
Right. Amazon offers them via Asurion, like a 3-year plan for maybe $6, a 4-year for around $8. They cover accidental damage drops, spills, breaks, plus malfunctions after the manufacturer warranty ends.
Seems pretty cheap for extra peace of mind.
Yeah, and they make claims easy, often just issue an e-gift card or replacement. There's also a bigger monthly plan called Complete Protect for about $17 a month. That covers lots of eligible Amazon purchases, past and future, up to $5,000 in claims a year. Much broader coverage if you buy a lot from Amazon.
Interesting option. And you can get this pump bundled with other car stuff too.
Yep. Sometimes they offer bundles, maybe with a cigarette lighter extension cord, which could be useful, or a small car vacuum, or even an AC to DC converter, so you could potentially plug it into a wall outlet, though primarily it's designed for the car's 12V.
Right. Then don't forget those extra nozzles.
Exactly. For bikes, sports balls, pool floats maybe, it makes it more than just a tire inflator. It's a general-purpose inflation tool. Adds to the value.
Okay, so let's wrap this up. We've gone pretty deep here on the AstroAI tire inflator. It's clearly super popular, highly rated.
Huge seller, yeah.
It brings some solid features, that tough Ultra build for potentially better durability, the smart inflation with auto shut-off. It's compact, portable. It tackles a really common annoyance effectively.
And for the price, like you said, it could easily pay for itself pretty quickly compared to hunting down working air pumps.
Definitely. But I think the real value from this deep dive comes from layering in those user experiences. Understanding the nuances, like the potential heat issue with prolonged use or the mixed views on heavy-duty reliability.
And seeing how users overcome those things, like that brilliant two-pump strategy, that's insight you just don't get from the product page alone. It really helps you figure out if it fits your specific needs.
Absolutely. Which brings us to the final thought for you, the listener. Thinking about that heat management and the clever two-pump idea, how does, considering your own typical inflation needs, are you just doing occasional top-ups on one car? Or are you frequently inflating multiple tires, maybe across several vehicles? How might that influence whether just one of these units is perfect for you, or if maybe adopting a creative strategy like buying two could be the smarter way to get the most value and longest life out of a portable inflator?